Greetings, ladies and gentle readers. I'm Dwyer and I just finished reading Quest Academy Saviors by Brian J. Norden. It is book 3 in his Quest Academy series. For those of you who are unfamiliar, let's go ahead and do a small recap. So, obviously, from the name of the series, it kind of starts in Quest Academy. We've got our main character, good old Sal, who's got a bit of a unique ability that by itself isn't overly interesting, kind of, sort of, at first. He can just take like a look at what people can do, their like powers and whatnot, and kind of like duplicate it a little bit. But he's got to be careful when he's doing that because he can, kill himself if he's not careful. So that is what got my attention to it when the book first came out. Good old book 1. The fact that he can't just do anything and everything because if his body isn't, doesn't have the conditioning to do some of the more strenuous stuff, then it's going to snap like a twig. And that would understandably be bad. Throughout the story, he learns to craft things, doesn't want to be on the main line, doesn't want to be fighter, which is interesting because this is a litrpg, right? Though I would label it as litrpg light. It's not like they're getting like experience points and blah blah blah. But there are, stat screens courtesy of his ability. And in that respect, it's very much litrpg-ish, right? Now, immediately, some people who like live for stat screens and numbers going up, blah blah blah, you're gonna be up. You might not like this as much because the lit RPG aspect of it is more of an element to enhance the story, and it's not the focus of the story. It's not like, ooh, let's go out here and, grind, and get plus 100 strength, and then go over there and grind. Ooh, I found something special. Now I have plus 100 speed. Like certain books that I'm not gonna, call out, they do that. The numbers wind up being completely meaningless. But, there's a genre of people that are into it. So, good on them. If that's what you're looking for, this is not what it's going to be. The lit RPG element is to help you identify the capabilities of certain things, to distinguish between certain things, and not to read it just for that thing. So I hope I made that somewhat clear. So where does this book come into play? Well, first 3 books here, as you can see, takes place in the first semester. I was actually kind of surprised by that because I hadn't realized that how little time was actually passing. It's like, wait, is it is it still the first semester? He's still a first year? Dang, he is still a first year, ain't he? And if we scroll down here, we can see it's 848 pages. A lot of pages. But the first semester is ending, so that is fantastic. There are things that he has to do, like go and conquer a tower filled with demons. Well, not really conquer a tower filled with demons. That's a bit of a spoiler. I'm not going to get into that. Let's just say the first floor of a tower filled with demons. And remember, he doesn't want to be, frontline doing the whole demon hunting thing. He wants to be crafting thing and helping people with their powers thing. He's very much in his role as a support and not a mainline. And that has always been an interest to me because it's like really common for people to just write like, yeah, or give him a sword and he's going to be like on the front line, like slash, hack. Numbers go up. Cool, that's my book. But here he has to like deal with people as a support. He has to find out what he can make and how he can help these other people get better as a support. And it's all around not a more interesting tale, but it's a very different tale. Now, is it the most amazing, most interestingest story of all of the stories in the history of stories? No, it's not gonna be like totally up there with the likes of Dune and Lord of the Rings and all of those top tier books. But in this particular genre, it is definitely something that you're going to notice will stand out from the rest of the lit RPG space, or in fantasy sci-fi in general, because there's a bit of sci-fi there too, because they're like making stuff and they've got like trains with cannons on them and a whole bunch of other pew pew things. It's just one good way to describe the series is it seems like the author has a whole bunch of likes. He likes a little bit of sci-fi, and he sprinkled in some sci-fi. He likes some fantasy with like the demons and the whole getting stronger thing. So he sprinkled in some of that too. He wanted the book to, at the very least, begin in an academy, so he sprinkled that in too. But he didn't want it to just be some, edgy loner who is gonna take on everything and do everything by himself and save a world of billions all by himself, and he don't need no one. So he threw in a whole heaping of like social interactions and then just gave it a good old stir, And it's like, we need some more tension. So we need some more tension. So there's going to be like outside entities too, like your guilds and other organizations. And they're going to have their own interests that are going to try to, pull certain character, not just the main character, but pull this character and pull this character off in these different directions. So he threw that in there too and then gave it another good old stir. And what we come up with is pretty good. I think it's definitely a cut above most writing I come across. It definitely feels unique. I can't be like, Quest Academy, man. It's just like insert generic novel here. Because there's too much setting it apart. So when you're reading it, you definitely feel like you're reading something unique. Something that has absolutely been given its own take on a genre. And so far, I'm enjoying it. So far, I am enjoying it indeed. Fan of all three books so far. I will say, I think a few of the actual crafting bits went on a little bit too long. Like, obviously, crafting is, and, ability management is one of his main shticks. But when you go on too long describing what he's working on without like a break or something, there is a danger that your eyes can kind of start glazing over a touch during that section. But there are a few sections that I thought it did last a little bit too long. So it's probably an individual thing. That feeling will probably differ from reader to reader. Some people are like, no, it didn't go on long enough. I wanted to know more about how, this interacted with this or whatever. I think personally it went on a little bit too long, but doesn't stop my enjoyment of the book. I'm probably going to give it a reread. Honestly, kind of can't say that about a lot of the things I've come across lately. Like, even if we look at the books that Amazon's going to be like, oh yeah, this is similar to this, read this. Like, I'm never rereading this series because I've dropped it, I don't like it. You can't see my mouse, sorry. That's Path of Ascension. I'm never rereading System Universe because that was just kind of boring to me. Like, Azarin Healer, I noped out of because it just didn't make a lot of sense. Mark of the Fool, yeah, great. That's a reread. Grand Game and Battle Mage Farmer, those were rereads. Primal Hunter and Hell Difficulty Tutorial, definitely not. So yeah, I definitely think it's fair to say it's a cut about the rest. And if you are generally... Wait, what the crap? Why did this print length just change? What? Why did the print length just change? Something like... What? Almost 100 pages? Okay, that's odd. Alright. Haven't seen that happen before, but you can see, unless I'm losing my marbles, that just changed. But yeah, if you want to read a book about inventions and demons and a guy who just wants to help people having to deal with crazy people who are just utterly mentally unstable, As he goes through an academy that seems like it could be real, like it does seem pretty fleshed out. Which, you would hope, given it's the title of your entire series, right? It's literally called Quest Academy. So you would hope the academy is pretty well fleshed out. Well, it is. If that's the kind of thing that you want to read, then yeah, the series so far is for you. It's not letting you down. Books 1, 2, and 3, you won't regret reading them thus far. Now, the second one came out in January 20th, I think. No, sorry, January 12th. It took me a minute to notice that it came out. Second book came out on the 12th of January of this year, 2024. So he's not taking all of the time in the world to write, but he's not going through them too quickly either. It's not like, yeah, this came out in January, and then book 3, sorry, came out in April. Like, it's not one of those, because you've also seen that in this particular space way too often, where you're looking at a book they're releasing every 3 months, and they're just not spending time working on their writing. Like, it's obvious he is putting time in, he's refining what he's writing, and it shows. It just shows. Like, the time between the first one, Silvers, and the second one is about, what, 6-7 months, something like that. And the second book was 400 pages. That's a decent amount of time. That's a decent amount of time to make sure that you're writing your story correctly. 10 months for 700 is on the edge there. Still a decent amount of time. Long as he keeps taking his time, writing the story as it deserves to be written, then yeah, can't go wrong with it. Highly recommend, give it a read, and hope you enjoy it. As always, time to find something else to read.